Alright, this is going to be podcast episode number 1, talking about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Some things I would just like to point out for beginners. In this episode I'll just be talking about pretty much what you should and should not do in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So the first thing that we've probably all seen is the rain. Now the rain is something I would like to point out because that's the key thing right there. The rain is extremely annoying. I don't know how to get over how annoying the rain is, but there is a I don't want to say glitch, possibly considered an exploit, so that you can actually climb in the rain. Now, it was found by a YouTuber by the name Austin John Plays. I'll link his channel in the description below. But the way he found it is if you continuously keep pushing B over and over in the rain, it should let you climb in the rain. Now, I've noticed that this does not work at 90-degree angles, because you'll just start falling down. I found that quite interesting. I'm pretty sure he does point that out in his video. Again, I will link it in the description down below. But also what I find interesting about Breath of the Wild is the game's physics. Breath of the Wild's physics are lifelike, and that is not a reference to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's theme. No, they are physically lifelike. The physics, I wouldn't say that they're exactly lifelike, but they revolve around the true world in a way that, let's take wind bombing for an example. You are pushing something at an extreme force, which bullet time already does weird things, as we've seen with, you can flip over a guardian with the Cryonis block in bullet time. Bullet time does extremely weird things. I fully haven't figured out the physics in bullet time, but I know that if you wind bomb, you are propelling a bomb hundreds, possibly even thousands miles per hour straight into Link. And I find that quite interesting because, would we be able to do that in the real world? We could try, but if we did that to a human, we would just explode the human. It's like shooting a bullet through a human. That's pretty much what you're doing. But for some reason, the bomb doesn't go through Link because that's not how the game was intended to go. Now, obviously, you can mod the game to your heart's content, but that's not what most people do. No, most people just exploit the physics that they've already found by speedrunners. Let's take shield clipping. Shield clipping will be another good physics thing. When you shield surf onto a slope, I recommend a 85-degree angle. You make it so the game remembers the last place that you just shield surfed, shield surfed. So, when you shield surf again, you have what's called a skew. Now, a skew can be used for a lot of different things. It can be used to clip through walls, and it can also be used to create new bullet time. Now, I'll go over the normal skew, and then I will go over the bullet time skew. Both of them are kind of different. Now, the regular skew is when you shield jump, or shield surf, I should say, onto a slope around 70 to 85-degree angle. You gain a shield skew. Now, what you can do with that shield skew is you can clip. Clipping means you're just pushing Link a few frames into something. There's 2 ways to clip that I have figured out so far. There's a horse clip, or you go onto your horse, you push it all the way back into a wall, you jump, and then while you're in the jump, like immediately after you jump, you go into your quick menu, and then you save the game, you reload that save, and you should be clipped into the behind of that wall. The other way to shield clip, or just clip in general, is you get a shield skew, you get a good skew, I want to say. I mean, you can do the Trial of Sword skip with a fairly decent skew, but let's just say we're doing the Trial of Sword, and then we want to clip through the wall. So what happens when you clip is the game remembers the last position that Link was in while he was on his shield, and then you can use that to exploit that pretty much and make it so the game thinks that Link is still on that slope, so it would push Link forward a few frames and thus allowing you to go through the wall. Now, the other way to shield clip, I should say, is you use something called a stasis box, I'm pretty sure it's called. Now, this is already patched. I'm just going to be putting this out here for new players who haven't updated the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild all the way up to, what version are we on? To 1.6.0. Now, those of you who have updated your game all the way, then, yeah, that last one isn't going to be of much use to you. Then there's the Battle of Light clip. There's so many clips. I don't know why I said there was only 2. The battle, so Dark Beast Ganon fight is, you go up to the Wall of Light, and if you position yourself correctly, now this is 1.4.2, I want to say, or 1.4.0, a long time ago, almost a year ago from posting this video. You can horse clip, I'm pretty sure what it's called, through the Wall of Light, thus going to Lurlin Village, speaking to the NPC that allows you to gamble with the 3 chests, and then you have all your NPCs back. That's something completely different. I have a video on how to get the Bow of Light outside of bounds. So, let's talk back to bullet time. As I said, there was going to be another skew. This is called a downward skew. And you get this skew by shield jumping, and in the middle of your shield jump, and now you want to be on a slope that has a 90-degree angle, because possibly 85-degree angle, possibly. It depends on how you do this. You can shield jump, and then while you're in the middle of your shield surf and you're above the ground, pull out your bow, which will activate bullet time while you're still on your shield. Flip your, if Link was facing north, you want to flip Link south, so Link is pointed the other direction from where you jumped. And then make it so when the shield collides with the ground, Link will fall. And then after you do that, you will have a downward skew. So after you have your downward skew, how will you be able to use bullet time? Well, you can use bullet time by just doing a normal shield surf, not a forward shield surf, just a normal in-place shield surf, but immediately when you do it, unequip your shield and Link should get thrown in the air. Now, the higher the slope, the bigger the skew. That's what Clairtix says. Now back to physics. Aerophysics is what we will be talking about next. Aerophysics I find in this game are quite interesting. There are 2 bows that I have found so far, 3 bows, yes, 3 bows that I've found so far that don't have the normal physics that should be applied in the game. Now, one of those bows is going to be the Twilight Bow / Bow of Light. Now, the Twilight Bow is locked under a paywall for Amiibo, and then the Bow of Light is locked under the Dark Beast Ganon only, or you can clip out, do whatever you need to do to get out of the Dark Beast Ganon, and obviously go to Lurlin Village, speak with the person that lets you gamble, and then all your NPCs will be back. The other bow is the Ancient Bow. Now, the Ancient Bow can be found at Akala Ancient Tech Lab, which is on the most northwest part of the map that you can go while you're still on land. I'm not counting the North Lyome Labyrinth as part of it, the one to the northwest. I don't know if it's called Northwest Lyome Labyrinth. The one labyrinth with the big walls. All of them have big walls. You know what I'm talking about, people. The one near Akala Tech Lab in the Akala region. Now, the ancient bow can be bought there for 1 ancient core, 1,000 rupees, and some, ancient parts. Sorry, that's giant ancient core. Which are a little bit rare to find and kind of hard. I've had my fair time grinding for them. But the ancient bow lets you shoot, I'm pretty sure, 2 times farther, if I recall correctly, which I think is a great benefit if you are trying to hit something, and if you don't have enough firepower to do a lot of damage, you can just kill it off from a distance. Now, the third bow that kind of doesn't apply to Breath of the Wild's physics is the Rito Bows. That includes Rovali's bow and Rito Bows and Swallow Bows. And also Gerudo Golden Bows. I forgot to mention that as well. They don't apply to the normal game's physics. I wouldn't say, they're more of like, they do apply, but they're more of like the long bow type. Especially the golden bow, because it zooms you in, which signifies it is like a long bow. Now, the Rito Bows allow you to shoot 0.5 farther, if I recall correctly. Clairtic or Austin John Place saying that. I said if I recall correctly. I am not certain on that. Now, let's go into sword physics. Sword physics are quite interesting, because when you swing your sword, no matter what it is, boomerang, Begoron sword, master sword, all of those weapons, Seabreeze boomerang for the boomerang reference, you have this short cooldown. Now, for the larger weapons that are two-handed, that's not a short cooldown. That's about 1.5 second cooldown right there that you're looking at, which can be kind of annoying. Now, with your one-handed sword, you can do damage a lot faster, allowing you to do a few combos with that. A few combos, as we'll talk about, is if you click the attack button and then immediately click the jump button. That will allow you to deal damage extremely faster. Now, you can do this with the two-handed sword to save about 0.89 seconds of cooldown, which if you're a speedrunner or someone that just doesn't like that cooldown, it's pretty significant for you. Now, for the boomerangs, these are one of a few weapons that don't break on impact of hitting an enemy. Now, what I'm talking about here is if you were to throw your Traveler Sword, for an example, at a Bokoblin, that would do twice as amount of damage. So, Traveler Sword, 5 damage. So now that would be multiplied by 2. So that would do 10 damage to the Bokoblin. Now, if you were to throw a Seabreeze Boomerang, which let's say does 20 damage, it would still do 20 damage, but it's a boomerang, so it would come back to you. Now, I've only found 2 other weapons that have done this. One of them is the Master Sword. When you're at full health, Master Sword has a Master Sword beam, just like we've seen in the other Zelda games. And then any rods, and any elemental rods, such as a Thunder Rod, Meteor Rod, and Ice Rod. Not the elemental weapons, such as the Ice Sphere, honestly, like Flame Spear, those weapons. The ones that are Spear, two-handed, and Sword, that do, like, mineral, dinrel, ferosh, and needra that represent them in weapons. Those will break upon impact. So what I'm talking about is the one that shoots meteor, little fire cubes, ice, and electric. All carried by the Rito Bows, the little magic creatures that float above the ground with their rods. Can be found where ferosh, dinrel, and needra can also be found. Those won't break upon impact on throwing it. Now, if you figure out another way to hit it, well, I don't even know, because you would have to drop it, and then once you drop it, hit something with it, which then wouldn't break upon impact. So those are the only weapons that don't break upon impact, which I find kind of interesting, because I would at least think that the elemental rods would break, but they only shoot out their representative elemental, which is quite interesting. Let's go into shield physics. Now, shield physics, what I mean is by how shields work in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. They work kind of interesting. If you were to damage your Hylian Shield enough, it would obviously break. But there is no shield that will not break in Breath of the Wild. There is only one sword that will never break, which is the Master Sword, and one bow that will never break, which is the Bow of Light. But there is no shield that will never break, which I was kind of let down by, because I wanted to have my Hylian Shield never break. You can still buy the Hylian Shield for a whopping 3,000 rupees, which I find kind of absurd, even though I'm sitting here with my almost 1 million rupees, only 1 rupee off. But that's still a lot of money for me, because I save that money to buy my... I don't buy anything with my money. Alright, let's just not talk about that, because that's just disappointing. Now, what we will talk about is the Hylian Shield's durability and how it works. You can soft reset your game for a durability up or shield guard up Hylian Shield, which is beneficial in a way that you can get the Hylian Shield up to 1,200 durability, if I recall correctly, and a shield guard up to 140 shield guard. So that's plus 50, if I recall correctly. Which, if you got that, good job. Extremely good job. That can take a long time. Like, a really long time to get. It's like shiny hunting for Pokemon that have 1 out of 5,612 chance of spawning. You got that one. You got that one. That's good. Extremely good if you have a shield like that. But the regular Hylian Shield that you can get in Hyrule Castle in the lockup by defeating the Stalnox underneath Hyrule Castle has a base rating of 90 defense on its shield guard thing, whatever. I'm pretty sure it's called shield guard. Zeltic went over a video like that. It's pretty good. It can block 27 Guardian Blast before it breaks, so if you were someone like me in the beginning that did not know how to block Guardian Blasts and were relying on your luck or your shields, then it can block it for you. But if it breaks, then it's expensive to repair or get a new one, however you want to call it. What I find interesting about the Hylian Shield is you can get it right after you get off the Great Plateau. You can make your way to Hyrule Castle, up into the lockup, kill the Stalnox. Now I recommend you either grab a horse or you wind bomb there, because boy oh boy would that be a long time for you just to get there. But you can just get it, and once you get it, you can't get another one except for buying it. So I recommend duplicating it. Again, link in the cards, I hope, if they're working on YouTube now, for how to duplicate items. Probably a video by Clairtech, because I'm not good at explaining stuff. But you can get the Hylian Shield extremely early, which is interesting. That you're able to get a shield so powerful at the early of the game. Now, I do not advise you to get it, because it will break and you will be upset. I advise you to get it for the end game. Now, what fascinates me is you can get a strong shield, you can get a relatively strong bow if you know how to parry for those guardian parts and those cores, and you cannot get a strong sword without killing a Lionel, or doing the Master Sword, getting the Master Sword for 13 hearts, and doing the Master Sword Trials, or testing your luck at Amiibo, which even then the highest that you can get is 63 attack on the Fierce 80 sword, if I recall correctly. So, the way they put Breath of the Wild is quite interesting. I feel like it's a vast game that is going to have much exploration. And now with the release of Hyrule Warriors Age of the Calamity, or just Age of Calamity, however you want to put it, I feel like it's going to be quite interesting on how some people will take this. The day that I will be posting this is the day right before Hyrule Warriors Age of the Calamity comes out. So, for all of you people who have pre-ordered it, good luck on your Hyrule Warriors adventure. I wish you the best of luck, and this is the first time we'll be able to play Zelda, an official Legend of Zelda game. Even though it's not official because it's not part of the mainline series, I'm confusing myself. Wapuu Pokemon out.